Alright, today we are doing medians of a triangle. A median of a triangle starts at the vertex, goes straight down, not straight down, sorry, goes down, and splits it into two equal parts. This point S is a midpoint. This point K is a midpoint. This point R is a midpoint. There's a couple of properties about the medians. You notice how we have three medians and we have this word called centroid? Can you guys guess where the centroid is? What specific point do you think it's at? This is a centroid. Okay. There are two main properties of a median. Do you see how this line, there's a short spot and then a long portion? At the equation for the long portion, well, this is 2/3 the size of the entire line. This would have to be 1/3 the size of the entire line. So if we wanted to write this as an equation, we could say the long portion is equal to 2/3 of the entire line. I'll call that x for now. The short portion is, well, if the long portion is 2/3, what does the short portion have to be? 1/3 of the entire line. So just to clarify, so you guys remember what x is equal to, where x is the length of the median. Extra median. Where x is, sorry. Where x is the length of the median. So x is the entire length. Okay? Let's do an example. It tells us that BU is equal to 16. BU is 16. It wants us to find UK and BK. BK and UK. So, what is the only piece of information do we have here? 16. And is 16 the long portion of the median or the short portion of the median? So the equation to get 16 would have been 2/3 x is equal to 16. We need to solve for x. If we solve for x, we find the entire length of the median. We find this. Let's solve for x. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3/2. And I know that seems really weird, but I'll explain that in a second. I multiplied by the reciprocal. See how I flip those around? Now look what happens. This cancels out, 3 divided by 3, and this cancels out, 2 divided by 2. So we get x is equal to 16 times 3/2. Another way to write that would be 16 times 3 divided by 2. Is 16 divisible by 2? So 16 divided by 2 is 8. What's left over is the times 3. So we know x is equal to 24. Remember what x is equal to. Yeah? Yeah, let's get into that. Remember what x is equal to. X is equal to the entire length. Yeah? X is equal to the entire length. And that makes sense, right? Could this small portion be 24 when this is 16? Right? That doesn't make any sense. So we know the entire thing is 24. So we know BK is 24. And look at that. BK is equal to 24. If we know this entire thing is 24, this part is 16, we can do 24 minus 16, and we get 8, which is the remaining portion right there. Okay. Here's the deal. There is a really, 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 really simple pattern to these that you should be able to figure out on your own. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, because if I tell you what it is, you will not be able to use it in practice. This is something you need to figure out on your own. So when you do figure it out, and I guarantee you people will figure it out pretty quickly, do not yell it out, and just think about it. Seriously, Blake, do not yell it out. Well, it's to all these problems we're about to do. There is a really simple pattern to all the problems we're doing. I'm telling you right now, so when we do them, you can start thinking about what is going on. Think about what pattern is forming. Okay, so let's do this question. AU, it's looking for AU, which is right here. We know this part is 16, right? We know this part is 16. Is that the long portion or the short portion? Wait a second. AU is a long portion, right? And that's 16. But if you look up here, didn't we like literally just do the same problem? It's the exact same thing, right? This long portion 16. The long portion 16, the short portion has to be 8. So we know this has to be 8, and the total has to be 24. Right? So AUD was 8 units. And then AD is 24 units. Yeah? Yes? That is physically longer than this. Yeah, you compare it to the other one. The actual way you find it is the one from the vertex to the centroid is always going to be longer than the one from the centroid to the side. But I think it's just easier just to look at them. Okay, EU is right here. What is this going to be? Is E? We're looking at this line here. What piece of information do we know about that line? The long portion is 12. So we know the equation for long portion is right up here, which is 2/3 times the total length is equal to 12. What are we going to multiply both sides by? 3/2. Cancels out, and we get x is equal to 12 times 3 divided by 2. Is 12 divisible by 2? 6. So we end up getting x is equal to 6 times 3, which is 18. Stop for a second. Could this small portion possibly be 18? What is that really? The total. So if the total is 18, what does this small section have to be? 18 minus 12 is 6. So we know this is 6 units. And then we should have another answer. We know what EB is, or BE. What was BE? 18. Okie dokie. Nope. They are right now in your sample size. Yes, they're all even, but that's not the pattern. Yep, number 2 is 6. Well, because 18 is this entire length. And it's looking for this. Okay, let's look at CU. We knew this was 6. CU. Is there any information here?
Yes,
Okay, we know CF is 18. This entire thing is 18. We are looking for CU right here. Okay. This one's a little bit different than the other ones. We know the length this time, right? And we're trying to find the individual portions. Is this a long side or a short side? So long side. What is the equation for the long side? X. And tell me what X is equal to. The total length, right? X symbolizes the total length. Do we know the total length of this median?
yes.
Yeah, it's right here, 18. So we can replace X with 18 in this example. So we have 2 times 18 divided by 3. Is 2 divisible by 3? Is 18 divisible by 3? Yes.
I'm sorry, okay. It's 6.
No one was yelling at you. You're fine. We have 2 times 6, which is 12. So we know this part is 12. And if we know that part's 12 and we know the total is, if we know that part's 12 and we know the total is 18, what does the second part have to be? 6. Okay. Oh, this one's 12 units. And this one is 6 units. Okay. We're going to take a small break. During this small break, though, what I want you guys to think about, remember I told you there's a pattern? You should have enough examples to see what the pattern is. Don't say it out loud. You can try talking to neighbors, see if they can help you figure it out. Do not, if you know it, don't just straight up tell them. Guide them to it. Don't just tell them that, though. All right, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. Okay. Is it easy? Is it easy? It's okay. So you two, what is? So I am not going to tell you what it is because if I tell you what it is, you'll not be able to figure it out on your own when you do your own patterns. This is something you need to discover. It is a shortcut that will only work. Well, just keep doing examples. Okay. So we're looking for CU, which is right here. Those of you who know the pattern, what's the answer to CU? It's 24.
Oh, it's double. It's double. It's double. Yeah. It's double, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already know it. Yes. It is.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was double. I knew it was.
Okay. You try to explain it in a really good way. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's do it the real way, though. Let's confirm that it works. 12 here, is that the short side or the small side? It's the small side, and the equation for the small side is 1/3 x is equal to 12. That's a one-step equation. You know why it's confusing? Because you've been using those calculators for so long. Nah. All right. We need to figure out what x is, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the reciprocal. That's 3/1 times 3/1. These cancel out. These cancel out. We get x is equal to 12 times 3. That is 36. But Mr. Rink, I thought you said the answer was 24. That's not what we solved for. We solved all of this. All of that is 36. So we know CK is going to be 36 units. If we know CK is 36 units, and we know this is 12, we can do 36 minus 12 and get 24. Huh? Yeah, because that's the short side. The short side is 3 over 1, the long side is 2 over 3.
So that's the short side. So the short side is 1/3. Take the 1/3, multiply it by 3, that's the total. Take 1/3, multiply it by 2, that's the third. Add the 1/3. This.
Well, we'll see in a second. Sort of. Yeah, you can't do the shortcut if it doesn't give you any numbers. Okay. Okay. Yeah. As long as you can do it on your test. Okay. We're solving for MU. I want your attention again. Now we're trying to find MU. We'll look at the line of MU. There's nothing there. But if you read the instructions, it tells us the entire line, ME is, or EM, is 21. MU is this portion right here. Is that the 1/3 portion, or is that the 2/3 portion? 1/3 times X. Well, what did the X represent? The total length. And the total length is 21. So we can do 1/3 times 21, which ends up being equal to 21 divided by 3, which is 7. So we know this is 7 units. If we know this is 7 units here, and we know the total is 21, right? We can figure it out by saying 21 minus 7 is 14 units. So this part is 14. And look, the pattern still stays true, 7 and 14. Okay, that was 14. Okay, last one. All right, they kind of come in pairs. JU. JU's right here. What do we know about the line JU's on? We know UD is 9. Is 9 the 2/3 or 1/3 portion? It's the longer one. Yeah. So it's going to be 2/3 times X. Do we know what X is? No. That's what we're going to find out. Is equal to 9. Multiply both sides by 3 over 2. Cancels out, and we get X is equal to 27 over 2. What's 27 divided by 2? What is it? 13.5. Stop and think about this for a second. Do you think this small little portion here is 13.5 units? No, the entire thing is 13.5. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. We know JD is 13.5 units. We know this part, uj, has to be 13.5 minus 9, which ends up being 4.5 units. Okay, glue this into your ISN. Whoever the next one's available. I know, I need to get that fixed.
Yeah,